drafting clinics, build in-house or partner capacity for draft bills, and then also encourage citizen reporting. So platforms that make it easy for Nigerians to suggest obsolete or harmful laws are important, which is why I'm stepping it down to have Facebook and Twitter accounts and just the tools, including even TikTok, to get people to give their feedback is important. Even if it is parody on TikTok, it's still helpful. Whatever ways that people can give the feedback to the commission is helpful. Now let's talk about ways that the Nigerian Law Reform Commission can upskill visibility. An interactive website with open submissions is important. Social media engagement is important. Facebook, YouTube, X, Instagram, wherever the people are, the Law Reform Commission needs to be there as well. Then there needs to be a public and regular radio and TV law reform programming and commentaries. If you look at NAFDAC, for instance, NAFDAC has a program on the television. Um, but there is a bit of an issue with that. Now, you remember when Professor Dora Opinyele was DG of NAFDAC? NAFDAC was a relatively unknown space agency. But then the work that she did gave it visibility. She was visceral in her approach. Now, people cannot approach issues the same way, but we must be able to determine what kind of outcomes we want through the approaches that we make. So it's important that the Commission looks out for what kind of outcomes that they want. But I'm going to talk about just comparing the work of NAFDAC, just so you can understand it a little bit more later. Then there needs to be community law reform workshops, collaboration with bar associations, not just the Nigerian Bar Association, even bar associations of other jurisdictions, publication of simplified summaries and flyers, encourage the establishment of state law reform commissions. I know that Plateau State has its own state law reform commission. You may want to look at also encouraging other states to follow through. Have periodic national law reform newsletter, youth outreach and legal clinics, partner with NGOs and CSOs, hold public hearings. And when these public hearings are held, it should not only be open to all citizens, but you have to actively bring in the citizens. So say, for instance, there is public hearing on the aviation sector. You need to bring the people in that sector. Now, why I'm saying that is because I keep going back to aviation. People have a lot of concerns around why does our airport look the way it does. People have delays in their flights and all of that. But you need to bring the different people in the sector. So it's not just to say we're doing a law reform on the aviation sector. You have to actively write to these people, bring them into the conversation, and not just allow them to get into the room, but put them under the atmosphere where they have to make contributions so that the contributions become important. So what is the role of the media in advancing law reform? The media as the fourth estate of the realm is crucial for the work of the Commission. If it is not reported, it did not happen. The Commission cannot win in the dark. It must be a light on a stand and not a light under a bushel. So media reportage is very important because it enables public awareness, it sets the agenda, it enables institutions to be held accountable through investigative journalism, it enlightens the public on legal gaps, it generates pressure for legislative change, and enables traction in agenda implementation of the Commission. So if the Commission is having a challenge on any area of reform, the media is important, but don't even wait until you get into that challenge. The Commission needs to really get comfortable with engaging the media. So I have suggested here that the Nigerian Law Reform Commission really needs media handlers. And I would recommend that it is led by a seasoned journalist or seasoned journalists whose work is to cover the story, disseminate to call it in digestible forms. So if you're telling a story and people don't even understand what you're saying, it's as good as the story is not told at all. So it needs to be in digestible forms. And I know that budget, again, is often a challenge, but if you have a media handler, they always have their own circle. It's not everything that needs to be paid for. They can just share some of the news, and some media houses will just be willing to report for little token or none at all. It all depends on what the issue is. So it is important to ensure that media houses are not only reporting news about the commission, but they are reporting it correctly. There is need for jingles and there is need for a moniker that the commission is identified with and that resonates with the public. For instance, you could say Law Reform Commission for laws that work for you. So every time you say the Nigerian Law Reform Commission, the people should be able to answer and say for laws that work for you. Just the same way that politicians, when they are running their campaigns, they will have a campaign slogan. The Law Reform Commission needs a moniker that resonates with the public. To further highlight the role of the media, I come back to the NAFDAC example and just the work that happens. And I also want you to just understand how you cannot take people to a height and then lose your momentum in terms of actualizing the promise. So after Professor Akunyili left, while she was there, everybody realized that the fear of NAFDAC, manufacturers particularly, they realized that the fear of NAFDAC was the beginning of wisdom. So they worked very hard. And then Nigerians now knew that if you're buying pure water, you have to check, does it have an NAFDAC number? Okay? People now knew not to buy drugs from people who were just passers-by because NAFDAC had done a lot of awareness about that. But after the passing of Professor Akunyili, from after her tenure was over, you will begin to see that the followership has gradually been dropping. They still have their program on TV, but they don't have that kind of traction that they had before. And two things could account for this. Number one is the fact that when you are saying that you're going to do something, you've got to deliver on your promise for people to trust you and remain with you. The second part is that the social media is now the village square. So a lot of people congregate around the social media. So I would suggest that if the commission wants to really work on media, they need to prioritize the new media, that's the social media, and then the conventional media needs to constantly follow. But typically, when you have generated enough buzz on social media, the conventional media just takes it up. So you would want to look at that aspect and so prioritize social media. But then again, the commission should not be ensnared by the oversimplification of the social media. It needs to fashion a personality fit for the social media age. There is also a sense in which the social media can sway you into what it wants you to do. And so the commission has to know what kind of personality is it building, and it has to be consistent with its personality. Now we go to social media. The Nigerian Law Reform Commission